Hey, good morning. So Tim Young, BSMPA, former member of State Board of Higher Education in Oregon. I went to school like a fall or two ago at Portland State, and a war crime unfolded around me. And I got a perp like right over there like, hey, it's time to talk about the PSU war crimes. He's like reading my thought. It's just thrown voice or otherwise, but he's reading my thoughts at moment of inception of thought before even speed of sound, and then slows down his audio to sound even slower and delivering it. But he's reading this shit in remote neural monitoring real time. Anyways, PSU last fall, the war crimes. So I decided I want to go back to school. A latent function of it was to meet a nice girlfriend. I sign up for classes at PSU. The whole campus starts getting perpetrated. If I could like regularly go to I'm still pretty unaware of some of the boilerplate tactics for like community slander, but like if I go to a front desk for a while to fill out my application, after a while, like the front desk gets perped and they like lie to the front staff at PSU, and then they become unprofessional and like grumpy over shit they don't explain to the TI is the person getting perped. And then they're all unwittingly a part of the Satanism. Okay, yeah, so accreditation processes, schools can come much better out on the end, at the other end of it. And turnover in a university president can be extremely good. Those two things are on the table currently in the news for PSU. This may or may not be related or not. I had an EMF perp talk about how that they were going to start attacking more of the things that I loved, and talked about institutions of higher ed. An EMF perpetrator who showed up to perp my house here, like faking the form of Milo, this poor old guy who's disabled. So they're going after PSU, like they said, I guess. But let me talk about the war crimes. But anyways, like if the professionals at PSU can handle it, like schools could be much better off coming out of an accreditation process. And that's that board's job that certifies like not just Portland State, like a bunch of universities. Like you're gonna have to take it like a man. Anyways, so I'm doing like undercover boss. Like it's been a while since I've been on the state board, but I was trying to like set up a $6 billion endowment over a 10-year project management thing that I, just did in my spare time, that Christian charity. Anyways, my bond measure failed, but U of O is on the way to raising $1 billion, which is great. They just announced their capital campaign recently, so it's all sort of happening all at once. Lots of moving parts, the stuff that I used to be an expert in, like oversight for, of all 7 universities in Oregon, $2.2 billion budgets. My ancestor did what I did in my early 20s after he was U.S. President, Rutherford B. Hayes. In his retirement, he was on the board of trustees for the Ohio State University. Anyway, so I did that in my early 20s, and they made me a TI and sent me to hell because I was good at being good and trying to combat the student loan indentured servitude, short of slavery. So they made me a slave. Mind, body, and soul. Satanism should never have made me a TI. Anyways, so like I go back to Portland State, and like they're like gangs of stalkers are doing that talking at me Satanism, the satanic repeaters and suggesters. Like I remember, like they never approached me directly. It's part of the Satanism. It's designed to get like reactions out of the TI, and as what the Buddha said, don't be moved by praise or blame, and that's expert advice for TI. Anyways, so like I can remember like the library getting hit by gang stalkers, EMF perps, still saying how much I was baited over 15 years to get angry at the reptilian, but EMF perpetrators saying, oh, now that the reptilian really hate him. Unfortunately, some gang stalker types, but that were getting electromagnetic form raped, like this young woman. I sent out my, maybe not MD diagnosis on how to get your digital dark age chastity belt. I send that out routinely to women who like post that they're getting raped on Twitter, on how to combat that part of, these perps, Satanism. Yeah, N52 level magnets. Anyways, like I got perps talking at me, like community slanders happening. I show up to like classes And like one of these classes that I was at the instructor was not on the school's curriculum website. Everybody in the classroom was like probably an EMF perpetrator, if not just a flesh and blood perpetrator. And the coursework was obtusely like relative to their Satanism, like what you would need to know to do like 3-dimensional satanic set design and street theater and, secret surveillance type stuff. So I went to a fake class in psychology. Like the professor wasn't even on the website as working for the school. They were talking about Satanism basically. And then everybody in the classroom itself was a perp. And then they can like take people's minds over by perception or replace people in the classroom. Like it's pretty, and then they're looking at my eyes at the same time. It's pretty deceptive how it gets done. But I had a large homosexual black man who was arrogant for a know-nothing prick at a B school in Portland. Anyways, like I'm sitting in here just, trying to learn, hanging out with the students and not trying to react to like just some of the more extreme arrogance I've seen off like any instructor. Anyways, like, and then like in front of me, it seems like he's hearing voices. Like, and then they're all looking out my eyeball too at the same time, like as this shit's going down, like documenting this for the secret surveillance group. But I didn't know if everybody in the classroom got replaced by reptilians for a point. Like there was this one point where an EMF gang stalker like popped out, or like broke the fourth wall or something like that. Like you should have seen the way this thing's neck moved. And it was like trying to like be all mean mugging, but like demonic, and then said some kind of satanic repeater or suggester. But that's happened to me at psych wards, not just Portland State, by appearance. And then they're looking at my eyeballs at the same time. Like everybody in the room for moments could be involved in satanic repeaters and suggesters. And I wonder if they're even human, at least for those moments. So that was another part of the war crime. They let them in, like staff, like if I was going to the disability student union because I'm disabled, like, and the staff that seemed to be there got replaced by EMF gang stalkers because they knew the departments that I'd be going to. So they, like everybody in the department got told not to come to work that day or something. And then they perpetrated the war crime against me, was what that whole aim was, because I'm the TI. Yeah, EMF gang stalkers replaced staff all around that campus. There were EMF gang stalkers that were trying to get the kids in the lunchroom to be to worship reptilian, or otherwise. Gosh, I should go more into detail and maybe write out a. Anyways, the lunchroom at Portland State, and they're looking through my eyes. So like I feel like. I didn't know if electromagnetic form gang stalkers were faking that they were actually reptilian at that point. And they moved into the dorms where I was at. Gosh, and then they were looking through my eye at the same time. And now they want to like try and take it out on the institution. Anyways, like long story short, EMF gang stalkers invaded Portland State and were attacking me. And it wasn't really Portland State's fault. We were all still new to gang stalking. They Tonka trucked the whole institution. Like, I went out on a couple of dates, and like I didn't know at the time that they were EMF perps and not reptilian. Like they like would replace the woman that I met like at the library, and I'd end up going out with somebody who was an EMF gang stalker, faking the original woman I was interested in. And at that time, I still didn't know that they were just EMF gang stalkers, real mammals in other locations, and not reptilian. Like. Anyways, it was Satanism. And, like they had an EMF perp as a little kid outside my dorm window, like for set designer street. They're like, we know you're here to prevent the marriage of the Christian. And then they would, and I'm Buddhist, but, Christian genome and disposition, it's in my wetware. That's why they don't want me to breed. But then like a gaggle of like EMF gang stalkers right on time, like females would like turn around the corner on their way to a bar. Pretty typical for a college stuff. But this was all street theater, and the campus was overrun. Like so many I should really detail this in more of a war crimes journal. I feel like there's so much that I need to recall and write down and then recall over the phone. But like, it wasn't really Portland State's fault. The accreditation process and losing the president could be somewhat related, but that's not me. That's the EMF perpetrators. I ended up getting kicked out of Portland State on a falsified charge of sexual harassment. Like, I was the one getting sexually harassed. Like, I'm getting EMF raped. They're doing all this street theater, like, you know, committing a war crime. And then ironically, they faked an electromagnetic form perpetrator female form, filed false charges that I sexually harassed somebody. I've never done that really much in my life at all. I'm just not that kind of male. Again, like the Christian disposition. So that I get kicked out of school, and then I got kicked out of Portland State, and that was one of their aims too. And then I was homeless for a while. They were trying to exterminate me covertly, but yeah, they desecrated the fuck out of Portland State all around me while I was there, and me too at the same time, with like satanic repeaters and suggesters. The EMF gang stalkers were faking that they were actually reptilian. At one point, like for set design, like there may have been some word. I kept trying to tell people. I tried to tell the public safety staff. I'm like, there's some weird shit going on here, like, and they kind of kept giving me the runaround. But yeah, an EMF perp faked or falsified a sexual harassment charge. Like this perp was like, she was faking that she was like a TI or something like that. She was like, I take meds and like, like gang stalking, something, this and that. And I'm like, I actually am under surveillance. Like, hon, we probably shouldn't hang out. Like, if you're worried about people watching you, like, people really are watching me. So, like, it's not going to be healthy for you to be my friend. And I put my hand on her shoulder to say goodbye. And that was the last thing I heard from this EMF perpetrator faking a PSU student. And then that PSU student, seemingly, but it was an EMF perp, went and filed sexual harassment charges that got me kicked out of school. Based on, and I never really got the details of it. The administration sold me out the Christian genome, like out of 35,000 of them. Like the one guy that, like, for stuff that's been going on for 15 years that those dumb turds would have no idea about unless I fucking told them. Anyways, if they're going after Portland State as an institution, that EMF perp has said that in here. And those people don't even, the tech is so strong and powerful. If somebody walked in and said, I'm from the, American Association of College Boards and Universities, like, they could EMF perp that person. Anyways, I'll talk about the PSU war crimes more. There's a lot more that happened there, but like whole classrooms were overrun. Even the professor were EMF perpetrators. They were trying to design me getting kicked out of school, make sure I couldn't go to classes behind counters at the school, like in Newburger Hall. EMF perpetrators were behind the counters. But that shit follows me everywhere, man. That follows me to fucking juice joints in LA. That follows me to psych wards. That follows me to Starbucks in Westland. That follows me to the beaches of Santa Monica. Those motherfuckers are here and reading my fucking mind right now. So I hope PSU comes out better after an accreditation review, and turnover in university presidents can be really good. But that war crime that happened in Portland State, there's probably a lot more that I need to talk about for documentation purposes. But they were purposefully desecrating like Christendom covertly in me, and all the shit that I've done, like, haven't really. It's been kind of covert for the last 15 years, but like, they call me the provider in a lot of ways. Like, I was trying to set up a $6 billion endowment for you fucking college kids. UBO's gonna get $1 billion. So